Hi, so in this video, I want to continue on from the previous videos on this society that I gave the name of Vision Land, and to talk a few more things about what some more ideas on this. And so in this video, I want to talk about some things on the aesthetics and the kind of um, the kind of aesthetic structure or ideals, aesthetic ideals that this society of Vision Land it can have, it can hold as an ideal. So, okay, first I'm going to talk about the architecture of this society. Now, within bureaucratic societies and societies that have a lot of bureaucratic um, constraints and where people do not have personal autonomy to decide in to decide to make their own decisions and to decide in what way to live their lives and to keep any make decisions for themselves as to how in what way, in what direction they want their life to be. So in when when people are able to make um, these decisions with personal autonomy, um, the effect of this on architecture would be, I think it would be something very interesting. Instead of seeing the mundane and same and boring architectural landscape that we see today, it can create for a very interesting and a and very unique aesthetic in a way that it will not have the same um, boringness that you see. It's all the same. Like when you see architecture in this bureaucratic form, it's all so boring. It's nothing new. It's all it doesn't evoke this interest in you. And in this way, if in this society people can make these autonomous decisions, I think it will unleash this creative freedom in a way that you will start seeing more more aesthetic forms of architecture. Okay, so that is one thing, and yeah, it's interesting to think what kind of a landscape this would look like, and I think um, it can truly look something really unique and amazing. It can have a very high aesthetic in a way that not only from maybe from an overall perspective, where when you look at it, it can be something very unique, but also from a more zoomed in perspective, where a person within this society looking outwards, it can create for some really unique and beautiful um, huh, it can create for some beautiful sights, I guess you could say. So anyway, that is one aspect of the aesthetic ideal of this society. Another aspect, and this kind of connects to previous videos, is about um, what kind of in if there is that system of bureaucracy and wage slavery within a society, then um, certain creative potentials can never be reached in that kind of a wage slave and bureaucratic society, because it will simply it simply cannot be reached. There are too many constraints. There are too many things that are stopping people from realizing their true potential. And if with the use of with the benevolent use of technology in this society, you could eliminate these bureaucratic wage slaving type of systems, and with these constraints not being in place, a much higher aesthetic in other things can be reached. For example, in everyday life, in a way that everything that you see around you, it now has a much higher aesthetic than it does in these all these stopped systems that stop people from realizing their potential that can be realized if they have that personal autonomy, and if they have the ability to not be stopped with these systems, but to actually go all the way through to the highest of their capabilities and reach that aesthetic instead of being stopped at some point, or being just being capped off at a point where it no longer becomes possible for a person to realize that higher aesthetic. Instead, they have to stop to by bureaucracy, or by all the constraints of the barbaric systems um, of wage slavery and of all these other restraints that stop a person from realizing their potential. And in that way, the aesthetic that this society can reach is much higher than what you see in the in all that boring and completely unoriginal, uninspired, not creative, mundane nothingness that you see. It would be a much higher ideal than this. It would be, because it's based on people's true potentials, true unstopped potentials. And I think such a society will be very beautiful in 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 so many aspects. It's not just, okay, you see, it'll be like, the beauty is in the architecture of the place, the beauty is in the culture of the place, the all the forms of culture that this society produces. It can strive for a much higher ideal and much higher version of the people themselves and of their capabilities, instead of being stopped at using these stopping systems that stop people from realizing their potential. And yeah, so those are just a few thoughts on some ideas on this society. And yeah, so for the next videos, I'll talk a few more things about some other aspects of this society. And yeah, so that's where I'm going to end this video, and I'll see you in the next video.